Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game while criticizing current and former players. On this week's episode, we are covering Season 42, Episode 11, Battle Royale. I am one of your two co-hosts today, Josh Wessler, joined today by my other co-host, Ryan Stacy. Ryan, how's it going?
Pretty good. You know, it's going to be good. We don't have Derek tonight, so we're gonna turn this podcast into an anti-statistics podcast just to spite Derek today.
Yes, we are the healthy Castaway Consultants here.
Derek's got the COVID, so he's down for the count. He's apparently dying, as he puts it.
Yeah,
so,
a likely story.
That's fun.
We'll see if he's actually dead next week.
Yeah, well, he just wanted a week off, and he didn't have like a good excuse like the Elton John concert.
Yeah,
or
right.
A vacation in Florida.
Seriously. Or,
so no
getting nearly hit by a tornado. It's fine.
And from what I hear, you didn't watch the entire episode. So really, I'm the only one here who's like actually doing their job.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just toss out a giant disclaimer here right at the beginning. I live now 3 hours away ish from Ryan and Derek.
You loser.
And down by me, we had some massive storms today. And we go to tribal council. We get probably like one or two people talking and then cut to weather guy talking. And I wasn't even watching through cable. I was watching through Paramount Plus on the stream. But apparently that goes through still your local cable channel. So I get interrupted with the weather and it goes for... Actually, it's still going right now. It never cut back to regular programming. So I had no idea what ended up happening here at the end of the episode. So I'm going to base those events on whatever Ryan tells me here.
I have all the power. This is fun. I like it. Well, we just did Battle Royale, and so we can't really ask your opinion on the episode. I thought this was a great episode because just like last season, the contestants spit in the face of all the BS twists of the season, and it was awesome.
And I mean, I can still give some feedback on the episode.
No, you can't.
Oh, okay. I did like it. Up until Tribal, that is.
And Tribal's the best part.
Yeah, right. I heard that it was very entertaining. So I'm gonna go right away as soon as I possibly can and find a stream and a recording of it to be able to watch it back. But yeah, I'm glad that we got some kind of anti-twist here from the contestants.
You'll love to see it. Spoiler for episode 11, Battle Royale. We're gonna get into it right now. Unless you got anything else, Josh.
No, I'm good. Let's do it.
All right, so the episode begins, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. So Marianne, her toenail on her smallest toe falls off, and a couple other people like Drea and Lindsay, they kind of freak out about it. And Marianne is talking about how she loses her pinky toenail like twice a year, just falls off, and everyone freaks out about how abnormal that is. I just need to get on my soapbox here. That's completely normal for someone who has had damage done to their toenails, like me. I on one of my little pinky toes, it falls off once or twice a year just because when I was a kid, I kicked my foot into a piece of wood and it just completely messed up the toenail. So it falls off every so often just because it kind of grows a little bit funky now. It's not that big a deal. So Team Marianne here. I'm right with you, Marianne. It's not weird.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
If Derek was here, he'd probably make some sort of reference and say that this is a metaphor, and the editors are trying to tell us something that Marianne's going to be going next episode. So I got you there, Derek.
She's the toenail that's going to fall off of Survivor.
Yep.
And she's going to come back and play again
2 or 3 times
later this year and just keep falling off. But the episode really starts. Jonathan, Mike, Drea, Omar, and Lindsay, their plan is to take out Romeo next because he doesn't do any work around camp. We see him stealing extra rice, and their plan is to be the final 5. This is not the plan at all. This is a lie.
Yeah, and it seems like everyone's kind of on the same page here. Maybe not necessarily Drea, but other than that, everyone else is like, yeah, no, we can't have that.
There's no reason to get rid of Romeo. Everyone can beat Romeo.
And I think everyone's on the same page now that they can all beat Romeo. So congrats, we have essentially locked in one of our final 3 members.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a safe bet, unless something happens with the fire making challenge. I think Romeo's locked in for the final 3.
True.
Mike and Omer, they want to take out Drea next. And basically, we're told over the course of this episode that Drea can beat everybody. So, okay, I'll believe it.
And we've gotten that over the last couple of episodes. So, yeah, totally believe it.
They bring in Lindsay, and they're all on board to do this. Omer's a little bit hesitant. He's thinking about taking Mike out because Mike's gotten a little big for his britches since the high vote. So Omer's just like, maybe I'll take out Mike instead.
Yeah, and we see a lot of these like people thinking it could go one way or another from multiple people's perspectives. We get it from Omer, we end up later getting it from Drea, we get it from Mike. So really getting into the strategy side. Yeah. So we're in the end game.
Yes, we are. Lack of food is getting to Jonathan. And so when they go fishing, Jonathan doesn't really help much with the net because he looks like just exhausted. And so Drea gets a bit snippy with him, and Jonathan snaps back a bit, so the two of them get into it a little bit. And this is bad on both of them. Just don't. So Drea talks to Lindsay about taking Jonathan out next. So, okay, could take out Jonathan. And so they were like, okay, we have to beat him in the immunity challenge so we can take Jonathan out of the game.
Now, we got, plan A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever, all the way down the list here in this episode of things that could have happened. Do you think that this actually could have led to anything if Jonathan doesn't win immunity here?
It could have. It should not have. Because I don't know. I think, why don't we jump ahead to who cannot win the game? You want to do that right now? I think that'll help.
Yeah, sure. And this is almost a continuation of our conversation from last week, I think.
I think right now the two people who cannot win the game are Jonathan and Romeo.
Yeah, that's becoming a little bit clearer now. I still am very timid about jumping on the other side of the fence there and saying that Jonathan can't win, but man, you're pushing me really close now, closer and closer, because I can't think of really many other people who would he might beat.
I just see everyone else beating those guys. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it looks good for either of them. I don't know if Jonathan will necessarily make it, but
maybe this immunity challenge today, maybe that pushes a little bit for him, that he's doing a little bit more, but it's going to come down to a little bit more of the social side, it seems like.
The problem is Drea is now on the jury, and Drea is kind of anti-Jonathan at this point, so that's not great for Jonathan's shot.
Yeah, Jonathan needs to be with the perfect 2 other people at Tribal so that he gets people on the actual jury that will vote for him.
And I don't know who that second person is right now. Something's got to change for him to have a chance.
Yeah, that all comes down to how people perceive some of these other final tribal people.
Somebody else has to make a big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Immunity challenge. We're getting the do or die twist back. So you can choose to compete or sit out of the challenge. If you choose to compete, the first person to fall out of the challenge will have to compete the do or die thing. It's exactly the same with what happened to Deshaun last season. But Jonathan and Lindsay are the only 2 to decide to play. And I was just thinking, we were so close if Lindsay had decided to sit out, where Jonathan would automatically win immunity. And I guess we'd just be like, all right, I guess we're not doing the do or die. We'll just vote.
Just skip immunity challenge, skip do or die. Just, all right, what do you guys got?
I would have loved that.
I just for the chaos and for Jeff's reaction. Just egg in your face.
But everyone else sits out, and I gotta say, I like this move for literally everybody to sit out. I think Lindsay should have sat out too. It's just
100%.
You're going to go up against Jonathan, and this challenge is basically the Jesus on the cross challenge. You're just hanging out.
This is super buff Jesus just hanging there from this essentially a cross, and when he was stretched out, I'm like, oh my god,
it's Alabama Jesus. It's just like, Jonathan is going to win this challenge. Everyone sit out. And even Lindsay's like, I should have sat out. That was a mistake.
Well, I mean, I think there's an argument somewhere where maybe he's just super worn down. He doesn't have enough energy. He's a big dude that has to hold up a lot of weight. So maybe he wouldn't be very good at this challenge. But you don't really know that, so why even risk it?
You want to take that gamble, Josh?
0% chance. Like, even if I am dead last on this season, I'm not taking that chance.
No, you should not do this. No one should do this.
No. And honestly, even Jonathan shouldn't do this.
I get why Jonathan does it. His rationale makes sense. But if that's the type of game you're going to play, I think Jonathan has to do it. But yeah, that would have been great if no one competed. That would have been awesome.
Just everyone, gray rocks all across the board.
Yeah, either just one person competes or nobody competes. It's like, oh, well, okay then.
Yeah, I suppose if Jonathan is going to make the argument in the end, if he makes it to Final Tribal, his core argument is going to be we heard it a lot in confessionals today from him. He's going to be the provider. He's a guy that is the big dude who's physical, won challenges, and it was super physical throughout the entire season. If you sit out of a challenge, that's a knock against you right there. Yeah. So, yeah, I actually think that you're right now.
Of course. I'm always right.
Of course.
Lindsay's going to fall out first. Jonathan wins immunity. Lindsay's going to have to play the do or die. If she lives, which she's going to, she gets immunity and doesn't, she can't be voted for.
Mm-hmm.
So at camp, the plan is for Drea to take out Romeo. But Mike is actually like, no, we're going to take Drea out. And Lindsay's fine with this because then the amulet will go down to 1 and it turns into an idol. So great for Lindsay. Jonathan and Drea have clashed before, so Jonathan's okay with it. Marianne's on board. Everyone has a reason to get rid of Drea because she is so dangerous.
Yeah, and we've known it for a little bit, and they don't even know all of the things that she has in her arsenal.
Yep.
So that's even saying more about how good of a game she's been playing.
Omer wants Mike out. Potentially instead. He doesn't think he can pull it off, though, until Drea tells Omer about the knowledge is power advantage. And this is going to doom Drea's game. Don't tell anyone anything ever.
And she had this. She had it for so long and wasn't telling anyone. And I think that was her plan, was to wait until the last minute and then tell someone about it, which, I mean, I don't recommend doing it that way. If you have to tell someone, that is the only scenario and how you're going to do it. But the huge part of this is that there might not even be a vote.
Yep.
So I do not know why Dre is doing this. Like, if you feel the need to loop someone into your whole plan in order to blindside someone with this thing, I don't like it, but sure, I guess. The fact that Lindsay might be going home on a game of chance and there's potentially no vote later, that should be just hands down the reason why you wouldn't tell anyone still.
Yep. Never, knowledge is power. Don't give out the knowledge. You keep that for yourself.
Yeah.
So Dre wants to take Mike's idol away and knock him out of the game. Romeo's on board, Lindsay's on board, until Omer and Lindsay talk about it, just the two of them. And Lindsay suggests, like, hey, why don't we have Mike give us his idol, or give you his idol, Omer, and then Drea can't take it, we can knock her out of the game, and then Lindsay's amulet would become an idol. Oh, did we see this last season? Are you sure they haven't seen season 41?
Yeah, right. Jeff said it many times so far. Like, remember, they haven't seen 41, so they have no idea what's coming.
I can't believe the knowledge is power advantage got neutered twice.
Just perfect. Like, we don't want knowledge is power in the game.
No, we don't.
But if we're gonna have it, this is the best ending scenario that we could possibly have.
The best case scenario with that stupid advantage has happened twice. Okay, we are pushing our luck. Stop it.
Get it out of this entire series now. While we're ahead.
I would have been so mad if that had taken Mike down.
Yeah. Which was I think that was my prediction.
Yep.
But actually, technically, both mine and Derek's predictions.
And we were all wrong.
Yep. And I'm all right with that.
Yeah, me too. So Tribal Council, Lindsay, she plays the what is that called?
I think it's Monty Hall.
That's right. So it's the Monty Hall. You get to pick 1, 2, or 3 on one of the boxes. Then Jeff will reveal one of the boxes as like, hey, this is a skull. So now you could swap and you have a 50-50 chance, even though it's actually a 67% chance. So based on the odds, what we learned last season is you are supposed to swap and switch to the other box. And Deshaun did not do that last season and got lucky and kept the one he originally picked, and it was fire. The exact same thing happens here. Lindsay does not swap. She makes the wrong move, but stays in the game.
Okay, so this is where I missed it because we were talking to Lindsay and cut to weather guy saying we're all going to die from a tornado. I don't think there was actually one that ended up touching the ground, so whatever. I get it. Safety. We have the technology now, unlike they did in the movie Twister. So, I understand. Ryan did say the odds of everything. So, Derek, when you're listening, we are pro statistics.
Yes. Relax,
pro
Derek.
Statistics. We don't care about your gut feelings. Make the switch. Once you cut it down to 2, make the switch and you increase your odds. There you go. Now, did they do it the exact same? Since I haven't seen it, did they do it the exact same way as last season?
Yes.
Where he just took one away.
Yes, he opened it. Yep, it was exactly the same. And Lindsay played it the exact same way Deshaun did and survived. It is kind of weird having 2 seasons back to back with like the exact same twists, but they obviously haven't seen the other season, and just having some of the exact same things happen. It's just bizarre.
And I love the season so far, but that's been my biggest knock on it, is that everything's just been repeated. And it's not like it needed to, just people's decisions and the way that things broke in challenges and all that stuff. It just laid out that way, that it was all the same.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's interesting playing like the exact same season twice with 2 casts of people and just seeing what happens. I think that's interesting. It's just that some of these twists shouldn't have been in the game. You shouldn't have brought them back. That's been my main issue, not the fact that we're repeating necessarily. But yeah, it's just bizarre.
I'm assuming, since I wasn't able to watch it, that this just sent chaos.
Oh yeah,
afterwards.
Well, and everyone is super excited for Lindsay, but that's not even where the chaos really began. Next up, Drea is going to play the knowledge is power advantage on Mike, and Mike just puts his head down in shame and despair until he's finally like, no, I don't have an idol. Gotcha.
Now, did they do the same thing as last season where they tried to make her doubt herself, or was it just completely blind, like, we're not going to say anything?
Completely blind, we're not going to say anything.
Okay.
And she asks Mike for it, and Mike doesn't have it. Omer's got it now. We get a flashback. Mike gave it to Omer. So now Omer's got the idol. We'll see if he gives it back. So Drea's like, uh-oh. So she is going to play her extra vote, and we are going to end up getting 5 votes for Drea, 3 for Mike. The 2 votes from Drea and Romeo. They both are voted for Mike. So the question I have, again, is Romeo playing shot in the dark prevention squad? Just in case Drea played her extra or her shot in the dark, he throws a vote on Mike just in case. Is that what Romeo is doing? I don't know.
You have to assume at this point, like, he's voted incorrectly. I don't know, 90% of the time. I have not been keeping track of Romeo's votes that closely. But he's been incorrect on almost all of them so far. So I'm just going to assume that. My question is, it seems like Drea, once she knew that Mike didn't have the idol, something's up. Why don't you play your shot in the dark?
Sure.
Like, go for it. Your 1 extra vote isn't going to be enough to take over 4 or 5 other people.
Yeah, because the thing is, she only told Omer about the knowledge is power, so she could assume Omer sold her out to Mike. Okay, so who does that leave you with in your alliance? Maybe Lindsay and Romeo. That's just not enough. So I think Drea should have done the shot in the dark. I think that's right. I think the shot in the dark was the way to go for her.
Yeah, I mean, you could get lucky and have it break your way, but it's just so unlikely at this point. Like, everyone's probably going to be unanimous in that decision.
Yeah. So I think Drea made the wrong move there. Once it's over, it is absolutely hysterical because Drea and Mike are just like laughing and like talking it through real quick, and they're having a grand old time. Like, oh my gosh, you tried to steal my idol. Oh my gosh, you tricked me. Oh my gosh, did you vote for me twice? Yeah, I totally voted for you twice. That's awesome. I'm still gonna come visit you in Canada. You're the best. No, you're the best. It was wonderful.
Weird. oddly friendly. I mean, like, because it reminds me a little bit of High's exit. High wasn't like interacting that much with people, but he was basically like, Survivor super fan. Congratulations, you blindsided me. If I was going to go out, this is the way that you want to go.
Dial it up to 11. That's what Drea did. It's awesome.
Kind of wacky.
Jeff said he had never seen a vote out like that. He's like, I've never seen anyone react like this. This is great. It was awesome. So Josh, go watch the episode.
I'm so excited to watch it.
And on her way out the door, she says, Lindsay, I'm rooting for you. Mike, I think you're going to win. Omer, you're the only one I told my secret to. So, do with that information what you will. And Dre gets knocked out of the game.
Interesting. Do we need to unpack any of that? Because that tells me that Lindsay probably won't win. She's rooting for her, but that doesn't mean that she'll get her vote in the end, unless it's maybe something kind of like Erica, where the other two people, they don't really want to vote for. So it's like, we respect your game and we like you as a person and not necessarily a powerhouse player. The Omer comment is intriguing to me. Yep. Is he going to be seen as, take him out while you can? If he makes it to the end, he's going to win? Or is it more, I'm salty about this guy and he's not going to get my vote in the end? And maybe a lot of other people are going to feel the same way.
I'm thinking nobody is on to Omer's game. Nobody. And then
Until maybe now.
And Dre has realized, Omer sold me out. He's the only one who could have. So, yeah, it's really interesting because right now I think this is between Omer and Mike. I think one of those two is going to win. But will Dre's comments cause this all to fall apart and maybe Marianne rises to the top to win?
It's possible.
Sure.
We got some good confessional early on in the episode from Marianne talking about her game. So maybe it's just a little bit of edit that we need for her to win the game. But yeah, I can see this going both ways with Omer. I still think that he's easily the favorite to win the season. If I had to remake my winner pick, I would still pick him at this point. But that's interesting to see if they're going to be gunning for him here in the next, because there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah, we have one more regular episode and then the finale. Well, two regular tribals and then fire making.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So we're running out of time.
Even if they now know that Omer's a threat and he's playing a really good game, you might not have a great chance to take him out.
But he's not a big challenge threat, so maybe they'll smarten up and take him out at the final 6. We'll see. I will say this was the right move to take out Drea just because she had so much hardware. I like the move to take her out, especially the way they did it was so dramatic and played up to the jury. I really like it.
Yeah, and even though I missed the end of Tribal, I will still also say that I thought that it was the right move. She seemed like next to Omer, she's the biggest threat to win the game, and she's playing a much more obvious game, so she would probably beat Omer. It seems like if they're head to head at this point,
she could have.
They don't know that she has as much of an arsenal of advantages as what she actually has, so they kind of got lucky with that as well. I think that especially now in the end game, take out the biggest threats.
Oh yeah. What did Twitter think? Did the right person go home?
And we did get quite a few votes from Twitter again, and it was pretty split. It was 57% to 43% in favor of yes, the right person went home. So probably a lot of people who were sad to see Drea go home, which is understandable, but you can't deny taking out a big threat like that.
I think Twitter is right on the money this time. Let's get into best and worst player. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm good. I can certainly give my input on this stuff, even though I didn't catch the end of Tribal. This is tough. I'm going to give my best to Omer, even though I think that he's in a very precarious situation now. He played a couple of different sides here. He picked the one. He picked the grouping of people, almost like a voting block, to go with that he has a better chance at beating. And even though, there's advantages all over the place now, and he has probably a decent target on his back, I think that it worked out pretty well for him. So I'm going to say that he's my best.
Yeah, he neutered Dana's knowledge power advantage, just like the veterinarian that he is. He took out Drea, probably his biggest threat left in the game at this point. Did she blow up a spot on the way out? A little bit. So we'll see how much that affects him. But even with that, I think it's Omer. And Derek agrees that Omer is the best. For worst player, I'm going to give mine to Romeo. Just because, I don't know what his vote was, if it was to prevent him getting knocked out on the shot in the dark. So I'm going to kind of just ignore that. But the fact that nobody seems to like him, and they had a whole segment on how lazy he is and how much they all can't stand him. So I'm going to give mine to Romeo.
And he's just picking rice out of the pot as other people are strategizing the entire time. Like, congrats, you're getting a little extra food, but you're missing out on a very key part of the game over there. So maybe think about that. And he thinks he's so clever about it too. He's like, yeah, I'm just sneaking a little bit of food here and there. No one's noticing. It's like, okay, maybe go strategize a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
But I'm not giving it to Romeo because I feel like his position, like that's kind of where he's been at this entire time. I know this is a little tricky because she did a good job setting Omer down this path with the knowledge is power advantage and getting Mike to switch. But I'm going to give it to Lindsay because she is the only one that it didn't make sense why she played. Everyone else sat out of the challenge. Jonathan, you can make the argument where he needs to compete in it. But as far as Lindsay, I don't think that she needed to. She had no reason to, and she put herself at risk. Yes, it worked out for her. She was immune this vote, but I don't know if she even would have been in danger, even if she was able to be voted out.
I don't think so.
And she didn't follow the statistics in the Monty Hall problem.
Yes,
it worked out for you, but that's terrible thinking.
She got lucky. Derek has Jonathan, interestingly. So he went in a different direction from either one of us. Probably for fighting with Dre, I would guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because they had a altercation on the beach, a verbal altercation regarding a fishing net.
All right, so let's get into who's going next. Final six. Hopefully, it'll just be like a regular old episode next week. Josh, why don't you tell us who you think is going next?
Yeah, so this is where it starts to get tricky. I think it's one of two possibilities here, and a little bit is going off of edit, but you could still think of the Jonathan vote, get the big strong guy out. I don't know how they're valuing that this season. We haven't really been shown where that's at with the thinking of these players. So that's definitely a possibility still. But I think that I'm going to go with a little bit more under the radar here. It's someone who isn't necessarily a huge player that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, but it's not someone who is automatically super beatable at Final Tribal. I'm going to go with Marianne.
Okay.
I think Marianne goes out here. We got a little bit of an edit from her this week, talking about her game and talking about where she hasn't played a super strong game, but she also doesn't want to be too aggressive. So maybe that'll come around here in the next episode where she plays too aggressive and, try to make it a good push to the end, and it gets her out.
Interesting. See, I'm going to go with the safe chalk pick, which I like to do because if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, then it was surprising. So that's how I always like to make my who's going next picks. I think the simple answer is Jonathan. Hopefully it's a little more surprising than that, but I think Jonathan's going next.
Really living on the edge there, Ryan.
It's how I like to do my Survivor, man. Derek, interestingly, has Romeo going next, and I'm not sure about that one.
No, I don't really see it. I think that if he was going to go, he would go this week. At this point, they're going threats. Early in the post merge, you could definitely see where they're just taking off the bottom feeders, if you want to call them that, and so keeping the really strong players around so that there wasn't only one or two strong people left who got picked off right before the finale. But we're close enough here at the end where I don't think that's the case anymore. There's so many people who could be considered a threat to win the game that it's now or never. You gotta take them out. It's do or die.
Yes. Romeo is not someone to take out. It wouldn't be the Castaway Consultants without a patented, terrible Derek Kubicek pick.
And he's not even here to defend himself.
Not even here to defend himself, and he's not even here, and he's still putting this chaos into the podcast.
Classic Derek.
Never change or do. It's up to you.
Hey, we need it. We need it. We don't change, Derek.
He's the wild card.
Wild card.
Yeah. Derek is the wild card of this podcast, I think, for sure. Get better, Derek, in all seriousness.
All right. Both of your takes and your health.
Yes. Yeah, both of those things need to get better. All right. Last thing we're going to talk about is who cannot win the game. I think it's pretty easy. I think it's Jonathan and Romeo. I think are the two who cannot win.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's very likely. I'm going to stick with my reasoning from last week, which was Romeo and Mike, just because we don't have the precedent yet to be able to say that if Jonathan makes it to the end that he can't win. So I'm going to use the same reason as last week, that Mike hasn't played a great strategic game. He's been led around by everyone in the game, whether it's Hai, whether it's Omer, basically telling him what to do, and none of the actual strategy has really come from him. Great socially, don't get me wrong. People seem to really like him. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But with the physical side and with the strategic side, I just don't see it being there. It's a toss-up for me if he's there alongside Jonathan, but based on historical precedent in the series of Survivor, I'm going to give the edge to Jonathan.
So yeah, I'm looking at a Mike, Jonathan, Romeo final three, and I think Mike cleans up. Like even at the end of this tribal council, Dre says she thinks Mike will win. So
that's one person though.
Maybe, but I think everyone really likes Mike. So I'm pulling for him. I really want Mike to win this thing. I think it'd be a really fun win.
Yeah, it's really close for me. It's hairs. I hope it doesn't come down to that.
Yeah. All right. So next week we're at the final six, and hopefully we'll have Derek back, and we're all healthy, and not getting attacked by tornadoes.
Yeah, right. A lot of chaos this week. Did Derek have his two people that can't?
Oh yeah, yep. He had Jonathan and Romeo, just like me.
Okay, sounds good.
So Derek had a good choice.
Sure.
All right, Josh. Anything else?
No, I feel like this was a pretty quick episode.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm tired.
Yeah, not a lot of Derek to wear us down here.
All right, you can follow us on Twitter at Castaway Pod. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and if you are more interested in listening to podcasts on YouTube, I know a lot of people are doing that nowadays instead of listening on something like Apple or Spotify. That is perfectly fine, as we now have everything going up on a YouTube as well. It takes a little bit longer, so it might need to wait just like an extra day for the video to come out, but that is also an option to listen as well.
I'm a quicker editor than Josh. I do the podcast, he does the YouTube video, and I'm just the fastest editor in the West.
It is. Yeah. It's I'm just terrible.
Yeah,
maybe true. Someday I'll be as fast as you.
Maybe someday. We all have, we have to have these really lofty goals, and it might be completely out of reach, but just the fact that you're trying.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, we could be like most podcasts where we just chuck the entire recording out there unedited, but oh man, I hate when podcasts do that. So I hope our listeners appreciate that we like actually edit this thing down.
Oh yeah, we edit so much crap out of this thing. You have no idea.
So many bad takes.
So many terrible takes. So many ums and ums and likes and filler words.
None for me. That's
none from you. Yeah. It's all me and Derek on that one. Yep. All right, Josh. I think that should do it.
All right, sounds good to me.
All right, this has been the Castaway Consultants. Got nothing
else for you?
For you?
Good night.